All right, welcome everybody. We're live. Myself, Jay-Cee Brass. I'm from the Key First Nation, and we got John
John
McCarthy.
MacArthur. Thanks, JC. John MacArthur here from Fezzerup, Dakota.
Yes, and I don't know if you all noticed yet, but I am wearing all red today because it is Game 7 for the Toronto Raptors. So we will, not sure how long this live will go, but we will get back to the game at the end of this live because it should be started by then. Game 7 versus Boston Celtics, and hopefully the Raps can pull it off.
Yeah, good luck to the Raptors. They are the reigning champions, right?
Yes, we are the defending champs.
Definitely. What a story to have, right, from last year is to come from nowhere, really, and win the championship, the NBA championship. And I know you were looking forward to getting to that one of those games, but price was an issue, right? They price gouge on those tickets when it gets that level.
Yeah, for sure. Though this season I was about to make it to me and my cousin, convinced my cousin to finally go to a game, and we had the tickets all lined up, but then COVID hit, and then but we got reimbursed our money back. So
Good. Yeah, with this stuff going on in the world today, we've had a lot of disruption to our lives, right? A lot of interruption to our normal lives, and that really put us off our routines. And one of the things that I struggled with was trying to maintain a healthy diet at home while trying not to go grocery shopping where this virus might be. Man, I tell you, to be a single parent and figure all that stuff out with groceries and meals, man, that was very difficult last 7 months. Very difficult.
Absolutely. And we have a couple people joining in online here. We have Grady on YouTube, watching the YouTube channel. Yeah, what's up, Grady?
Hey, Grady.
Devin checking in from None of It. Welcome to the
stream. Hey, Devin.
Podcast. Devin, we got to get you on here one of these days. All right. We definitely would love to have you and Olivia get on our podcast and, kick it like we did back in None of It. And I know we won't be able to eat a meal, but you guys could probably share a meal with us on the podcast, maybe, if you guys like to do that, or some of your awesome stories. So that'd be pretty cool.
That's right, JC. I can't believe it's been, 8 months since we were in Iqaluit. And I remember the hospitality that we received from the folks there. Definitely makes me want to go back as often as possible, as soon as possible. So Devin, Olivia, please send the invitation as soon as the all clear is given. We're going to come visit. And I got to tell you, one of the things that really appreciated about a trip to Iqaluit and our wonderful guests is they put on a spread of food that is unmatched. I think that one day, I ate parts and pieces from 12 different animals. And I just love that. It was all healthy. It was all natural. Man, I couldn't eat enough. I just wanted to stay there and continue eating all the food they had. So that's part of our subject matter today on this podcast is food, how food develops into our health, our strength. What do we need to achieve goals that we go after? We need to be prepared. How do we prepare ourselves? One of the basic things is food, good, healthy food. So, whether you're in the far north, whether you're down south in Canada, whether you're East Coast or West Coast, we all depend on a good food source. So I got to tell you, JC, you're quite an athlete. How has it been in the last 6-7 months for you in acquiring good, healthy food and making sure you stay healthy?
Well, for myself, I don't eat as much fats and stuff that they do in None of It. They eat a lot of the fat from the whale and the polar bear, and like it's mixed in with their meat and stuff. But definitely don't eat as much fat as them. And maybe I should, seeing how Devin's built, man, that guy, I should probably consider eating some more fats. It's that's where all the good stuff is, apparently. So Myself, I've been just, eating a lot of chicken, some oatmeal. I've been switching my meals to a lot of oatmeal and the breakfast of champions. And for myself, that's what I've been trying to get my meal right. So you can do so much exercise, but you need to eat right to match it. And I don't know if you see the comment on the screen. She said, Olivia said, we'd love to come and you guys can come visit too, she said.
Wonderful. Yeah. Olivia, Devin, you're always welcome to come to Fezeram, Dakota. We'll be glad to host you here. As soon as we can, we'll definitely invite you out. And I look forward to getting back to Iqaluit. So thank you for that.
Absolutely. And we do have my uncle Rex there from BC. You're looking well, nephew, he says. I appreciate that. Definitely.
Yeah. Well, what does it take to look well? You got to eat well. You got to take care of yourself. You got to drink water, eat some healthy food, and keep going, right?
Yeah. Not only that, you have to keep a good mental, mindset. There's a lot of things in life that could drag your mindset down, negativity, rejection or failure, and that could really set your mind back. And if it sets your mind back, it'll set your body back, right? It'll set your workouts back. It'll set your goals back. And so it really starts with the mindset, honestly.
That's so true. And I got to be honest, I got to share this story with everybody. And I remember starting in grade 9 and, being in the inner city and being in poverty. We didn't have much food. We didn't have much anything, right? So, I went to the central city school and one of the invitations was join the sports teams, join the workout team, and so I was game for it. I was very ready for the challenge, the commitment. So I started hitting the gym, the workout room, and then soon I realized, very soon after 2 or 3 days, I realized that I didn't have that support in order to continue going through that work, and I definitely didn't have the healthy food that was required to help me build stronger muscles and so on. So I really faced that challenge, that limitation due to poverty right off the bat in grade 9. So that really put me back. That really put me in a spot that said, well, maybe I'm not good enough. And that was really difficult. That was really difficult to get through. So I kind of wanted to put this out there and say, no matter what, we've been there. We faced those challenges with accessing good, healthy food, support to get through our goals and achievements. And of course, we don't always have the answers for ourselves. So how do we find an answer? How do we go out there and find that healthy food we need? So one of our special guests that we're hoping that she can join us excuse me, that she can join us this evening. She has been launching or supporting an initiative in the city of Regina. She has been growing a garden, some fresh produce, and she hasn't been keeping that produce to herself. She has been sharing all the produce out, and all this effort that she's gone through for the last 5-6 months has been towards providing good, healthy food to elders in Regina who have really faced challenges due to COVID-19 and the issues all around that stuff, as well as poverty. So looking forward to that special guest to join us here any moment. And she'll be able to share with us the idea of how healthy food is the basic foundation of building a healthy lifestyle. So look forward to that. But in the meantime, definitely keep going. And, one of my things is with healthy food, we're not perfect. We got to give ourselves a break. We got to cut ourselves some slack. So I don't beat myself up when I don't have a great healthy meal every day, but in recognizing that, I always go back the next day and say, hey, I might have cheated yesterday and had a snack that I shouldn't have had, like pizza for lunch today. Tomorrow I'll change it up. I'll make sure I double up on my veggies and do some fresh food to offset that, or really work back to the way I wanted to. I just got a message from our guest speaker. So JC, if you want to take it over for 1 minute, I'll be right back.
Yeah. The message he got, and I'll bet you, it's from Dr. JoLee Sasakamus, which is our guest, who just got linked in. So now all I got to do is patch her in. Hopefully I don't see her camera working, but let's see if we can get her here. Let's see.
Oh,
hello.
Looks like we're. Hi.
There we
Welcome.
go.
Hello.
Welcome.
Thank you so much.
Welcome to our fantastic, awesome podcast. And you're on episode 3 with John and Jay-Cee. So welcome.
Thank you for the invitation.
So everybody, let me introduce Dr. JoLee Sasakamus, a wonderful friend, longtime friend. And her and I have a lot of wonderful discussions about Indigenous people, where we're at, where we need to go, and how do we get there. Dr. JoLee is a wonderful researcher, supporter of Indigenous people. JoLee, I just shared with the folks your recent initiative in Regina in growing fresh produce and getting that out to all the elders who needed it in Regina. Sure. Please, let's start with what have you been up to lately?
Okay, so I'm an associate professor at the University of Regina in the Faculty of Education and at Psych and Counseling, and I'm the research director for the Wellness Wheel Medical Clinic and now Wellness Pharmacy. So this is a new exciting addition. Excuse me. So basically, I direct all the research for our wellness clinic, and we have 19 clinics located in First Nations communities, and we focus on chronic disease management with the focus on HIV and Hep C. And then we've obviously expanded into diabetes management and prevention. And then we've also, with COVID, become some of our physicians have become the leaders in the province for COVID relief. So we kind of take that whole gamut of health. Mental health and addictions is also a big part of what we do because simply our people have such traumatic backgrounds. We often have to interface with those issues. So basically I do all the research for the team. I help the docs evaluate the services that they provide in community. And then also I take another arm of that and I'm a community-led researcher. So if one of our communities wants to expand or start to look at a different area of research, I help them write the grants and kind of figure out what that research process would look like. And so one of our communities, for example, who had a really strong HIV Hep C program, also wanted to expand into diabetes. And then that led us to get a grow tunnel on their community because they wanted to start growing food. And now this year they were digging root cellars and they've really expanded that program into food security. So for me, it's all connected. All of it comes under our health and well-being all education. It's all under health and well-being. And when COVID hit, the travel stopped, right? So I couldn't go into the communities and maybe I just have too much energy or too much concern for our people, but I just got to action right away. I heard the elders, we had to lock ourselves down, and the elders, I was so worried about how they were going to come out of their homes with these chronic illnesses that they have and go do their shopping and just the daily activities when we're on lockdown. I'm a member of Matriarchs on Duty here in Treaty 4, and I just put out a shout out to the women and I said, hey, we need to do something. And of course, some women stepped up, and then we just started taking care of the elders. We grew a list of about 73. We checked with the chiefs to make sure that we weren't duplicating services that they were providing in the area. And then that 70-ish, it just stayed with us, and we call them every Monday. We check in on them. We started providing meals. We provided their PPE. And the other thing that we did was we got a little creative over the summer, and sometimes we would deliver a hot meal and a guitar player might be with them, or we would drop off art supplies or, just things to help their spirit. And then do you want to ask questions or do you want me to keep going?
No, that sounds great, JoLee, and exactly inspirational. So please go on.
Keep going. So what we decided, one of the things that happened as we started to get to know the elders, the same person's making the Monday calls. Of course, she's getting to know them, how are your kids, your grandkids, and we start to hear the same things. They really started requesting traditional medicines because their ability to have access, families not traveling back and forth anymore. So they're running out of their sages and sweetgrasses. And so we started to hear that, a lot of loneliness. Some of these elders, we were the only ones even calling. So if we didn't say we call them on Monday to do the check-in and see what their needs were for the week, when we deliver the Friday meal, if we didn't see them by that next Monday, we might have to do a formal wellness check on them because we may be the only point of contact. I didn't realize so many of our elders were completely familyless, right? So just that even made me start to think like, this is our colleges and universities. These people are our history, and they're just possibly going to die in their home and this happened to one of our clients. He passed away. He was on diabetes treatment in a hotel, isolated, and he passed away. So this was so serious to me, and I love that we as women just stepped up to take care of our cookums and mushums, and that's really, I know a lot of munyals want to make it a big deal and call us heroes, but come on, this is all of us do. We've been trained from birth to take care of the next 7 generations, to take care of our ancestors, our elders, and that's our job. So it's not like we did anything unusual. We just did what we knew we were supposed to do as Indigenous women. And as we started to hear this call for the medicines, we tried to get them. And at that time, that was when everything was really locked down. And so we couldn't. And I called one of my elders at home and I said, listen, we're having a hard time getting access to medicines. What do we do? I'd like to start growing hydroponically. And I thought they would just, when you start to kind of morph culture, it gets a little scary sometimes. But I'm from Chaging First Nation in Ontario and from Michigan. So I'm from the water. I'm Turtle Clan. I come from big bodies of water. And so my people from my home said, you have the right to grow in water. You are water. You're from water. Women take care of the water. Water is just another medium for growing, and lots of things grow in the water. So it wasn't really a big stretch like I thought it would be. Interestingly, though, in practicing some growth in hydroponics over the summer, one of the things I noticed with mint, for example, is I grew some mint outside and I grew some mint hydroponically inside. And when I harvested to dry, the mint outside was stronger and hardy because it's getting its butt kicked out in the weather and it's really developing a strong medicine. So even if we do grow hydroponically, I think we have to have a really keen understanding of the strength of the medicine that may never ever get as strong in an indoor system. The research is only just beginning. One of the other things that we really want to do is, so a few of our people are also growing cannabis so that we can start to make tinctures and balms and salves for our elders. They're really in a lot of physical pain. They have aches and pains. And so one of the things that we heard them say, they talked a lot about their physical pain body, but they also talk about their emotional pain body, and they talked about a spiritual pain body. So I had never really thought of pain in those multiple bodies before, but it was through the conversations with the elders that I started to hear that there's 3 separate pain bodies. And so we were hoping with this, we'd like to write a cannabis grant for a clinical trial to actually create some different pain tinctures in the different bodies, physical, mental, spiritual, and see if it helps the elders out. So I guess we just sort of respond as people say they have a need. I have a gift of seeing the gifts in others. So I just tap people on the shoulder and say, hey, can you join us? And I don't know, I just happen to pick people who never say no. They're like me. They have a lot of energy, a lot of love. And they're just like, hey, yeah, add another thing to our plate. At some point, we probably do need to set limits, but it just seems like because we do everything in ceremony and prayer that I guess sometimes I feel like if it's meant to be and the creator wants it done, they handpick these really high energy matriarchs and we just go get her done because that's what we do. So for me, I think I'm just a portal, a channel for really good energy. I try to keep my spirit clean, myself clean so that I can hear that connection really well and just act on it. So the other thing that I find has been really, really sacred and important is the recognition of food sovereignty and its importance in our well-being, because one of the things that happened when COVID hit is everyone went to make little emergency kits of white flour, white rice, all these filling foods with no nutritional content. And when you're talking about our people, but our people who are elders, we have chronic diseases. We cannot have these foods in our diet. So we are developing winter kits right now. And I don't have any wood to knock on, but I'm really hoping I get this grant to fund it. If not, it'll be a smaller winter kit. But the idea would be that we're dehydrating all kinds of fruits and vegetables. We're going to make our own soups. Our hunter just got an elk, and so we're going to process that meat. And then we are going to put these kits together that have foods in them that will spark the immune system and make our people thrive, not just fill them up, make their spirit thrive. Wild rices, if we do put flour in, it'll be an organic, non-bleached flour. We're going to try some fermented products. We're definitely got some teas and tinctures going on, hopefully some of those cannabis bombs. So those are the types of things that I feel like if we can give our elders one kit that could sustain them over the winter, and just introduce foods that actually will spark their healing versus to take away from it, then we might be onto something. And because I'm a researcher, the beauty of that is I can, research it, write about it, get it into the Munya world, get it funded, and get it back to our people. So that's my gift to the world, is to use their own systems for our people's benefit. And that's what I've been doing the last 10 years at the University of Regina. And luckily I'm at an institution that supports that journey. And yeah, so that's kind of what I've been doing. And I guess the other thing I want to say, this is more not volunteer work, but part of what we're doing out of the Wellness Pharmacy is launching a peer network. And that originally started with our HIV Hep C program, where we had HIV Hep C peers supporting HIV positive people. But one of the things that we started to learn, two things during COVID. One, we saw the peer model working with HIV Hep C. We know it works across the country. We've got evidence of that. But we started to see evidence come out that COVID has increased loneliness, and among HIV patients, it was increasing like symptoms and problems that were going on. And so by eliminating loneliness, some of the chronic disease factors were coming down. Well, you can put that, I would say you would be able to generalize that across the disease model, not just for HIV. So what we decided to do was to get peers in all areas. So our peers will not just be HIV Hep C, but there'll be mental health and addictions peers. There'll be diabetes peers. There'll be peers. We have a pregnant mom peer who is going to start focusing on bringing traditional birthing practices back to some of the women who are in a program here in Regina for addicted women who are pregnant. So and those traditional birthing practices, we've been studying them a little bit, and we've been learning how to take care of birthing parents. And so one of the things that I learned recently was that the birthing process was a 40-day ceremony. This is my teaching from Ojibwe territory. And in that 40-day ceremony, you have to open it a certain way and then close it a certain way. And when you close it, it's closed with drinking your own food, your own soup, your own broth, your own berries. That's how you bring your body back from the birthing process into this planet again, onto this earth. And I didn't know that. And that is something so simple that we could be introducing to the women here, especially those women who are disenfranchised and urban, who don't have access to any of those teachings. And we may not be elders, but we can certainly make them soup after they have their babies. We can certainly love them when they're in this process. All we need to do is get those teachings to us. So in a way, what we're doing, and I partnered with the Métis Nation here too in the area. We planted a garden this summer. We're just trying to restore what we've lost, reinvigorate, ignite, inspire, heal, help, just all that stuff. Because like a lot of the response to COVID has been freak out and fear of disruption. But Indigenous people, we've been disrupted since day one. Like all we know is disruption. So I don't think we should spend time crying about, will it go back to the way it was? We see the evidence of that. It never goes back to the way it was. So let's just pick up and move on and pick up the pieces along that are scattered along the trail that we can save, and what we can't, we have to adapt and change and recall. And we have to take care of those elders, because the media likes to call and ask why we're doing this. And I keep thinking, if your university were burning down, you would certainly be, look what happened when in France, when the Notre Dame was burning down, and everybody went crazy. Well, our elders are our universities, and we lose one a day all the time. And I just can't understand why people aren't more in an uproar about our elders being locked in their homes, not seeing people for days at a time, alone, isolated, getting depressed, and we're not in an uproar about it. Like, this is unacceptable. This is your cook 'em, your mush 'em. This is, they took care of us when we were babies. That's our job now. So it's like when I go home to the reserve and I see, grandpa out there bucking trees and he's 80 something and all those young boys are doing nothing. That's not acceptable. It's my generation's job. I'm 51. It's my generation's job to tell that generation to get off their butts and go help the elders. My son is going to be helping the elders. So it's just a responsibility that we have. And being stuck in the city now, you can't go into community as much. I didn't feel like I should not do anything. So I just started to build my life here in Regina, other than, professionally now, I guess, caring about the community. So in a nutshell, that's what I've been doing.
Well said, JoLee. And you brought up a lot of great issues and points there. So I want to touch on just a few of them. Mm-hmm. Number one, you made reference to Wellness Wheel. Can you share a website address if people are interested in learning more?
Sure. It's wellnesswheel.ca. I believe it's under construction because we're doing a relaunch on September 30th. So the brand new website launch will be out, but you can definitely I think you can see a few things there. And after September 30th, that will be the place that sort of identifies all of our projects, our communities. It'll be a really good source of information for people.
That's wonderful and really exciting. Jay-Cee?
Yeah, it's wellnesswheel.ca.
Wellnesswheel.ca.
All right, yeah, I could bring that up here.
So one other point you brought up, JoLee, and this is something I've thought about very, very seriously lately, and a lot of jokes on Facebook about it. But realistically, we need aunties like you. We need aunties who say, "Hey, young man, get off your butt, go to work." We need aunties that say, we need to step up and get this work done for our elders. So you mentioned Matriarchs on Duty. Is there a group or organization that you can help people find?
Well, I don't run the group. Matriarchs on Duty was formed from a political issue that emerged around February of last year. I won't go into the details about that political issue, but they felt a strong desire to stand up for their community. And out of that, they created a Facebook group. And I wouldn't necessarily call us an organization. I think we're just a group of the local matriarchs who communicate with one another. So I believe it's just called Matriarchs on Duty on Facebook, and the administrator can let you in. But I just check in with them regularly because it's just like the hotline to the matriarchs in the community. Hey, we've got this problem. What do we do? Hey, this is happening. What do we do? So it's not even necessarily that the organization or the group itself does things. It's more of a communication tool so that we can communicate about how to get things done. And Lynn Acus, I believe Chief Lynn Acus was the one who really initiated that group.
Well, definitely. There's a lot to be said about strong Indigenous women stepping up to get the work done. It's going to get done.
Absolutely. No question.
All right. So one other thing you brought up was growing gardens in Regina. Now, put this in perspective for us, because you didn't just do a small little plot in your backyard. You went above and beyond. And seriously, if you can do this in Regina, there's no excuse for me out here in the small town Kisby or Fezzeram.
Don't be so hard on yourself, John. It's not that there's no excuse. Is that, we were disrupted in those practices. So it's a learning, right? We have to get that teaching back. So for me, I have no land. I live in a little urban area in Regina. My yard is, a suburban yard. It's landscaped, and then it's got rock around it. I had no idea how I could plant anything. I usually live on the reserve in the summer. My typical living in the summer is on the land in a cabin with no running water, electricity. It's how I get myself back to balance. And I, couldn't travel this summer. And I just felt like, okay, when COVID hit, I'll be honest, I was not going to let this urban stuff take me down. I just figured I'm going to grow my own stuff. This was a personal journey. So I went and got a hydroponics garden for myself. And then I went and got some garden boxes built for myself. And then all this elder stuff was going on in the background. And of course, I have amazing girlfriends. And so we're just like, let's build boxes for the elders to grow in. And let's get fabric bags and build plant potatoes for them and onions. So the next thing you know, my home became like this factory of all these different kinds of ways of gardening that none of us had ever been exposed to, because I'm mostly on the land. You throw seeds in the ground and they grow. This was trying to grow in boxes and containers and fabric bags and hydroponic systems. And honestly, we had a great time. I think it made COVID a less scary place, because we as women were just trying to figure stuff out. And as we grew the mint, we would dehydrate it and give the elders teas, and so it just, and we saw things that worked really well and things that didn't. And like I shared with you, the medicine's just not coming out as strong. But the lettuce, I mean, the greens growing out of these hydroponics gardens are amazing. So now we're going to put one down in 11th Avenue at the Wellness Pharmacy. I'm hoping to get one at 2 other agencies in town, so that our people who are poor and have no fresh fruits and vegetables can walk into our pharmacy, pluck some lettuce, and take it home. Like, why not? This is amazing. Like, everybody should be able to do this. So I think that as we started to learn this, and then the other thing is once you start growing your own fruits and vegetables and eating things that you grow and it just tastes better, you're actually improving your health, because you're not eating the Doritos or you're not eating the pop. You're actually eating your own stuff. We started making our own kombucha, our own fermented teas. We started making kefirs. We're making all kinds of stuff just to try different things and the things that we think will work well. Canning, for example, I was just gifted 25 pounds of crab apples and spent 2 solid days canning them into various things. Okay, so I have so much respect for our cookums who did this, like fed entire families on canning. And I spent 2 days and was exhausted and just could not believe how much work that entailed. And so I think it's things like that, like the elk meat that we're getting. We're going to learn how to can it. There's a group of us getting our safety certification in canning, so that we don't give anyone botulism. And then we plan on training other women in the community to get their certification in canning. And then we're going to can some of this elk meat that we're getting tomorrow, actually. And then the woman who's training us in cannings in Ontario, and her story is amazing, because she had to fly in to get her groceries. So she only shopped once every 4 months. And she believes, and she's teaching me this, so I'm going to pass this on to you, but I don't know a lot about it yet. Every person, urban, rural, doesn't matter, should have 2 months of shelf-stable food at all times in their home. I didn't even know what shelf-stable really meant, but it means that you can, within your home, you can open it and eat it at that moment. So we should be thinking about that. And so one of the things I want to learn is, what does that look like for each home to have 2 months of shelf-stable food? I need to know what that looks like, so that I can teach myself, so that I can teach our people, make sure our people have that. So that's kind of, I don't know, that's just kind of where I feel like the gardening has gone. It's just, because I did it in prayer. I think what the Creator is showing me is how because this second wave will come, like this stuff's going to come. We have to be able to take care of ourselves. And I'm tired of going to a grocery store. I was like, even, the last case of COVID was at Walmart. I used to shop there. I don't want to step into a grocery store if I can avoid it. We don't want our people to get exposed more than necessary. So the more we can self-sustain on our own, the better we'll be. And I didn't know it could be done in the city. And I can't say I'm at sustainability yet, but I'm definitely going to get there. I can promise you that. So, and I'm going to get our people there, because it's just inexcusable that we have to rely on all these systems that, quite honestly, fell the hell apart when COVID hit. They freaked out when COVID hit, and we got stuck with their trauma and fear because they've never been disrupted before. So I don't want to rely on that. I want to know that I've got, the elders got meat for this season. Like, everybody's taken care of, because we're one community now. My community just happened to turn into Regina because I can't travel. So let's just make this happen and get our beans in storage and get everything we need, so that if this happens again, we're not just giving white flour and white rice, that people have some really healthy commodities in their home that they can start to eat well with. So that's kind of where the gardening left us with.
Well said, JoLee. Really, really good, interesting information there. I got to commend you. You have gone above and beyond to not only yourself, but your girlfriends, as you call them, have really stepped up and really did yourselves proud to do what you needed to do and lead by example. So I know you shared some on Facebook and other places of what you've done for gardening. But is this something that you can sort of package up and help share with others in the near future to teach
Sure.
them how to garden?
So one of the there's a couple things, because there's soil gardening and then there's a hydroponics. So I'll speak to the hydroponics for a moment. So we decided to go ahead with the hydroponics garden in our Wellness Wheel clinic, and then all of a sudden everybody wanted. This was in February, March, April, I would say. And then since then we've had 9 groups want a tower garden. So we've got St. Augustine High School has one, Prairie Sky School has one. We have one going up at First Nations University in Prince Albert. We have one going at the Wellness Pharmacy. We have 2 within Wellness Wheel Medical Clinic being housed by our staff. And then, oh my gosh, there's one more I'm forgetting. So right now we have 9 hydroponics tower gardens that we're going to launch within the next 3 weeks. And by launch, I just mean we're going to plant and get a Facebook page. Hopefully they're all going to start taking pictures of what they're growing, and especially the children's one, because they're going to be tying it to curriculum. And I know a lot more want to join on. So what I think we need to do is kind of take these 9 and get a plan in place for others for maybe the next season to certainly join on. And we're calling ours Muskegee Gitan, which is basically medicine garden. It doesn't necessarily mean we're growing just medicines. Food is medicine, so we'll be growing food as well. Some of the things that we have that I've been growing is I grew some Cherokee heritage seeds. We've got some heirloom tomatoes. We've got some sweetgrass seeds that we're going to try. And I know one of the things sometimes people say, well, are the elders supportive of this? I already did cover that with you, but just to say, every tower garden has with it an elder that consults at that. It's basically locally adapted. So obviously First Nations University PA has their own elders and their own things that they want to grow. We're not here to dictate that. We're just here to get you sparked to do this and maybe communicate back and forth. Attackakut First Nation took a little bit different approach. Instead of doing the hydroponics tower garden, they actually have what they call the garden tower, and there's 8 of them, which are soil based, but they're still towers. They're still vertical, and they're planting those at the school. So they're part of our team. So I would say hydroponically and alternatively, yes, I would. There is definitely a way. And I'm trying to build within the University of Regina a micropropagation laboratory, which with COVID is on stall. But the idea would be that we would actually grow medicines and foods and cannabis and all of those things that help heal, and we would have a laboratory space for that. On the soil side, I don't have land, so I'm not able to really support people in my area. But what I did was with the Métis local here, they got a little plot of land, so I taught them how to plant, the women, and weed, and we're harvesting now. Went out to a couple communities and planted gardens out there with their community people. And then I would say what I'm trying to do now is the University of Regina has a program with our PERG, and then this young man, this amazing young man I met who runs that vegetable garden, that vegetable patch that our PERG has. Fascinating young man. He also did grow bags with community members. So I actually suggested to him that we partner next year, because we're one community, right? We just have different populations within. So I'm really hoping to partner with him, and he does teach gardening. His garden at University of Regina, and he did it himself, was beautiful. So I actually find international gardeners fascinating because they come from different soils and systems, and just learning from him was just amazing, how he knew the vegetables so well. And I've just learned so much. My cookum that I'm working with, when I asked her if I could work with her on the medicines, she told me no 3 times, as cookums do. And then finally, when I got her permission and she said she would work with me, I was so grateful. But she said I had to find my plant, my teaching plant. And I thought, oh, it's going to be something sexy like bergamot, or super powerful like bear root or osha. And then it ended up becoming corn. And I was like, oh, it's corn. And so corn has been a huge teacher for me, because I tried to grow it in containers and I nurtured it and I sang to it and I did everything right by that corn, prayed to it. Mm-hmm. And I got silk, but never got an ear. And so in my not getting an ear, it was kind of humbling. And again, I realized why corn became my teacher, because I failed at it. And now I have to go and learn why I failed. It's going to teach me a lot. When I produce an ear might be when I'm an accomplished corn grower, but it's going to take a long time to get there. And I have a friend who has the same issue with tomatoes. Like she just grows tomatoes like crazy, and it's become her plant. So I think if you can find a plant that you resonate with, or ask for a plant to show itself to you, or just grow one thing in your home, an herb, grow one thing in your home, you're on the path. And I would say start with an herb because they're easy. And so one of the things I would do in the, next spring is, if there's a group of people, like if we're still doing the Regina thing, then let's just get a bunch of grow bags and seeds and give them to anyone who wants. It's not that expensive. Just get some dirt, some bags, and get some seeds. I would be happy to show someone how to grow.
Such good news, JoLee. Thank you for that. I agree. Definitely. I succeeded at keeping a cactus alive for a year.
Good job.
Thank you. So I'm ready for the next challenge, and so is my Leafy. So we're definitely into planting the garden. And of course, we want to take this serious so that we can learn, produce something, and then share it. So exactly what you're doing there in Regina and beyond. As you said, you're getting these row towers into classrooms and communities, right? So Can we look at that as a pilot project that perhaps can grow into a large scale across land project?
Absolutely. Of course, John, I'll never ask you to be one of those people that doesn't discourage my work from growing. Of course, I'll say yes. Yeah, of course. I think it can be done. And, one of the things we should think about is getting a grow tower down at Pheasant Rump. Right? Why don't you guys just get one in your band office or your health center or something, or your school? Just get one going, and about $1,500, and you got a grow tower, and these kids can plant. And I mean, COVID has hindered a few things, but at least the one thing it has done is forced creativity, because I probably would have never looked at a hydroponic system if it weren't for COVID. And that's the thing too, is I probably would have never had the nerve to ask the elders to do something like that. And also, I wouldn't have had the nerve to even consider breaching culture like that, right? Like the way I was raised, even though I look a little younger, I am 51. I'm still old school in my teachings. I'm not that new group. I'm the old group. So I don't mess with culture, and I don't morph it and change it and urbanize it. I don't do that. But I know that is where some of the younger group moves toward. But now with COVID, it's even where the elders are moving toward, like allowing things to happen on Zoom, for example, allowing conversations. Someone did a virtual smudge tobacco offering. I heard about this, where they actually offered the elder tobacco, but what they did, because they were on Zoom, is the person who had the tobacco made the offering, the elder did the prayer, and then the person who, after the meeting was over, took the tobacco and put it in the land. So that the ceremonial aspect was still there, right? So, and then someone even suggested, and I hope we get here, but like a Zoom sweat. Like, I'm like, how would you do that in the dark? And anyway, like that may be too much, but people are really having these at least the conversations happening, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm not saying I would ever attend a Zoom sweat, God no, but I'm old school, but in general though, getting access to the people, right? Access is important.
Yeah, and that's sort of something what we touched on in episode 1 and episode 2 is episode 1 was about outdoor therapy. Get out there, get in the water, get dirty, challenge yourself. Episode 2 was about getting out into the neighboring community. Jay-Cee was able to go to a rodeo and really put himself out of his comfort zone, but he also connected with people and really brought himself back out. And of course, it's two-way street and that stuff, right? So definitely we're looking at reconnecting. And sometimes we need to reconnect digitally like this. So we need to adapt and change sometimes. But we also remember where we were, where we come from. And we could always go back to the old ways when it's safe to do so.
Mm-hmm. I guess the only concern I have about the digital landscape is this. I teach group counseling right now, and I'm teaching my group future therapists to offer group online. But always remember this, there will be a large segment of our population that will never have access to online anything. And I'm keenly aware of that. And I think about that down on 11th Avenue where our pharmacy is. These people don't have cell phones. They barely have homes. So I appreciate everything we're doing digitally, and I'm grateful. But there is some of our people, it doesn't matter. And we have to still think about how to get to them. And that's the population I think of. So I know I'm not going to forget about them. But it is a challenge for me because, I got this new pharmacy and I want to have a breakfast. Well, it's COVID. What do we do to build community in this space? This is my new research question because I don't know how to do it. We hug, we sweat, we eat, you bring food, you got community. Well, now I can't do that. So what happens? How do you make people feel welcome when you can't do it as a group? Like how? We have to come up with new norms. So before we lose this, not even this generation, before we lose all of us, we'll get so disconnected and I'm kind of used to not socializing now. I don't mind staying at home all the time. But my 8-year-old, this is not acceptable. So we got to make sure we don't get too isolated and used to it because isolation is a breeding ground for depression.
Mm-hmm.
That's correct. And absolutely, we need to find a way to get back to face-to-face, but do it safely. How do we do it? So very recently, I stopped by Carmichael Outreach in Regina, and I just quickly inquired with them, hey, I want to help out. What can I do? They said, check back on Monday, talk to this person, and come volunteer. So I'm going to definitely do it safely, but I definitely want to get back out there and start helping the people that don't have internet, that don't have cell phones, as JoLee mentioned, the ones that are in the inner cities or just simply in poverty with no money for a phone. We need to get back on the streets to do that work. And JoLee, I find your work inspirational. I stopped by Wellness Pharmacy this morning. I had a quick 2 minutes. Yeah, it's beautiful. Beautiful. I really, yeah, it's amazing. I commend you. So even if you have a free 2 minutes, 5 minutes, reach out to Wellness Wheel and say, how can I help? And what can I donate? What can I give to help others? And JoLee, I want to say we can talk forever, but maybe what we'll do is we'll invite you back for another discussion very soon. Mm-hmm. But any final thoughts about that you'd like to share?
Yes, but it's more personal because you mentioned Carmichael, and Carmichael's right down the street from our pharmacy. And so what we were hoping to do on a Saturday was to host a breakfast. But now that I know you want to do some work there, we need to touch base because I really want to wrap our arms around Carmichael a bit. I mean, that's our population is that neighborhood, right? One of the things I love about where Wellness Pharmacy is it's not in North Central, because North Central, even though it's not a lot of resources, it has probably more resources for that area. But that 11th Avenue core area neighborhood, there's nothing there for our people. So yeah, let's get busy and do some work. Thanks for having me. This was fun.
Yeah, thank you, JoLee. This is an honor to have you on. I'm always thrilled to have conversations with you. You always inspire me to push myself a little bit further.
Oh, thank you.
Yes,
Jay-Cee?
I don't know how to hang out.
I'd like to say thank you, Dr. JoLee. A few things that really stood out to me is one thing that I could really relate to is that as a young man growing up, as my uncle always told me, this ain't no Holiday Inn. You know, always to go work and go help him out, go help my grandma, my grandpa, and work hard, right? And so you young people that are watching, that's one of the things you should do is always go help your uncle, your auntie, and your family as much as you can, and really listen to your mushrooms and your cookums, all right? I really appreciate the knowledge. Really hope our viewers appreciate that as well, and it's awesome to share and bring the knowledge and and share it, right? So thank you for sharing.
For sure, absolutely.
Definitely looking forward to having you again. We're gonna keep bringing other guests on, and for sure we'd love to have you back. And we'll
I'll keep you guys informed. We do so many things at so many levels. We do things at the academic level, at the community level. But one of the things that I hope to start doing is a monthly Indigenous methodological drop-in clinic so that people could actually come online to Zoom and ask Indigenous methodological questions. And I want to do this for two reasons. One, I really hope people to learn a good thing, but I want to stop bad research from going on in our communities. And if someone took a risk to call and ask a question versus trying something stupid, we would be a little bit further ahead. So I'll keep you guys guys posted, and maybe you could help me announce those things too as we move forward.
So very exciting, JoLee. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thanks.
Absolutely.
See you later, guys.
All right.
Take care. All right. Wow. So lots to take in, lots to think about, lots to consider. But the bottom line is good food grows good community. Good community grows good people and good futures. So we start with the good food, we go from there. And of course, we reconnect, we support each other, we work hard for each other, especially when it comes to family, especially when it comes to elders. The elders shouldn't have to ask twice. So even if they don't even need to ask once. If they need something, go take care of your elders.
On it. Or go
Jay-Cee, any last moment?
Yeah, you got to get on it, or you better go find your own willow. All right. Other than that, man, great information. Like you can definitely tell a difference when you're eating good food. Your energy level is different. So take care of yourself. Take care of yourself. You take care of your family. And your family's healthy, and your community's healthy, right? And of course, we have another barrier to get through with COVID, and the oncoming, social distancing, protocols we got to follow. And, but that's just another barrier that we're going to break, and we're going to figure that out together. So other than that, no, that's good.
Okay, so I have one last thing, Jay-Cee. So again, congratulations to the previous prize winners. So we have another prize to be won. So again, we ask all our friends, family, check out our video podcast, like, comment, and share. Let's keep this stuff going. Exciting times ahead. So this next prize draw, it's going to touch a lot of people's hearts. So here we go. Who wants to win a Saskatchewan Rough Rider jersey?
There we go. Let's get it. Oh, let's get it.
So obviously everybody's missing out on the CFL this year, so it makes this extra special. Make sure you join the contest, like, comment, and share. But again, watch out for our next podcast next Friday with another interesting guest speaker. And but in the meantime, take care of yourself, take care of each other, take care of your elders, and let's reconnect, and let's remember we're all in this together.
That's for sure. Everybody, thank you for joining in. Remember, like, comment, share. We have awesome guest speakers lined up that we're going to try to get every Friday, 7 p.m. If not, depending on time zone differences, we may have to move the time, but we're aiming for every Friday. So thank you, everybody, for joining in. I'm Jay-Cee. This is John.
I'm John MacArthur, Professor from Dakota.
Thanks for joining in, and we'll see you next week.
Have a good weekend, everyone.